Hello, and welcome to the 6th episode of Road to Final Boss. It's been nearly 7 weeks since the last episode, and I'm excited to share some of the progress I've made since then. Let's take a look at that as of January 30 of 2026. The first boss checked off the list for this episode is none other than Virago. This was one of the more difficult bosses to find a team for throughout the series. I even considered learning how to solo just for completing the remaining 17 kills. But thanks to Atrum Diaz, a good in-game friend of mine and Virago mentor, we duoed a good majority of my kill count. As for my thoughts on the boss, I think it's alright. Virago starts off fairly engaging and fun, but after the first 2 or 3 kills of a session, the battles begin to feel slow and boring. I've also encountered a number of bugs or quirky mechanics that didn't necessarily ruin the experience, but were still annoying. The loot is also alright, though it's not what I'd consider exciting by any means. All things considered, I don't see myself visiting Virago again anytime soon, but I can't say I'm done with it either. The second boss checked off the list for this episode is Vorkath, or should I say Zamorgul. Almost every one of my remaining 78 kills were ironically completed by skipping Vorkath. Somewhere along the way, I wanted to do some hard mode in hopes of getting an Invoke Lord of Bones codex, but the skips were a lot more fun than dying over and over again. And on the 100th kill, when I finally got Zamorgul's Nexus, I also got my best kill time yet. These 2 bosses are all I've scratched off for this episode. As I near the end, most of what remain take longer to complete, especially if I'm to pace myself for a finale that is not just about raids. And speaking of raids, I've completed a whopping 34 of them since the last episode. That brings me to a total of 39 Beastmaster and 38 Yakimaru kills. I find that the waves that precede Beastmaster and the quote-unquote puzzle that precedes Yakimaru are nothing but time sinks. The fights themselves, on the other hand, are quite exciting. I enjoy the low to intermediate roles I've been assigned at Yakimaru in particular. Croesus is another one of those bosses I've been struggling to find a team for. As such, I've only completed 17 more since last episode, which brings me to a total of 50. What's funny is that I was on a bingo team with a Croesus cell on the line we were going for, but instead of coming here, we ended up working on another line and securing a win anyway. So if things played out a little differently, I could have crossed this one out too. Sanctum. Oh, how I wish it were more playable on mobile. The 3 bosses here are extremely engaging and feel quite dangerous. But as mentioned in the past, it's practically unplayable in hard mode and barely playable in normal mode. If the bosses themselves don't get me, my phone's performance eventually will. It's really a shame because I imagine I would otherwise enjoy the Sanctum of Rebirth. But since last episode, I've completed 28 runs, which leaves me with 37 to go in order to finish my Nakatra kill count. Last, and definitely least, is Elite Dungeon 1. I still avoid this place, but I've reluctantly completed 10 runs since the last episode. With 59 to go, I'm thinking I may spread the remaining runs until the very end. And those are actually all of the bosses that stand in the way of the final boss title. So here's a visual of that. As always, I hope you enjoyed, and until next time, bye for now.